At first glance, it looks like just another coin, but HD Old Coins 51 is here to reveal why this seemingly ordinary UK 10 new pence could be worth hundreds, maybe even more. Do you have this hidden treasure in your collection or pocket change? Top 1. Imagine a moment in British history when the nation stood on the brink of a currency revolution. It was 1968, and the United Kingdom was preparing to say goodbye to the old pounds, shillings, and pence system, a system that had been in place for centuries. This was the dawn of decimalization, a transformative moment that would modernize everyday transactions and bring the UK's currency in line with much of the world. At the heart of this change was a brand new coin, the 10 new pence piece. The 1968 10 new pence coin wasn't just a small piece of metal. It was a symbol of change, progress, and modernization. It marked the beginning of the decimal currency system that fully launched in 1971 but was previewed with the introduction of these coins in '68. From the moment you hold this coin, you're gripping a piece of history. It was struck from cupronickel, a durable alloy of copper and nickel, making it shiny and resilient, perfect for the hands of millions. The design tells its own story. On the front, the obverse, you see the youthful and elegant profile of Queen Elizabeth II. This portrait was designed by Arnold Machin, a renowned sculptor whose depiction captured the Queen's grace and dignity in the early years of her reign. This effigy adorned all the decimal coins of the era, becoming an iconic image for generations. Flip the coin over, and you are met with the intricate design of a crowned lion passant guardant, the lion walking with one forepaw raised and its head turned toward the observer. This symbol, rich with tradition, harkens back to England's proud heritage. The lion is also a feature from the royal arms of England, representing strength and courage. Around this image are the words "new pence" and the denomination 10 proudly stamped. It's worth noting that this coin was larger than today's 10p, about 28.5 millimeters in diameter, roughly the size of a modern-day 50 pence. This size made it stand out in the pocket and in the hand, a tangible reminder of the country's bold step toward a new monetary era. Mintage numbers for 1968 were significant. The Royal Mint struck over 63 million of these coins, preparing for the transition. Despite such large production, the 1968 10 new pence coin is sought after by collectors, especially those in top condition, as it represents the very first year of the UK's decimal coinage. Collectors prize these coins not only for their historical importance, but also for their rarity and higher grades. A coin that has remained uncirculated or in mint state can command remarkable attention at auctions worldwide. Point one standout sale took place at the prestigious Spink Auction House in London, a venue renowned for handling some of the finest British coins. Here, a 1968 10 new pence coin in pristine mint condition fetched over £150, a significant sum for a decimal coin that was once everyday currency, in the United States. The heritage auctions in New York have also seen these coins draw eager bids from international collectors, with prices climbing especially for coins certified as MS 65 or higher by grading authorities like PCGS and NGC.S. Why do collectors chase the 1968 10 new pence coin? Beyond its status as the first decimal 10p, it's the story it tells about the UK's journey into a modern era. It's a tangible connection to a moment when a nation decided to simplify and standardize, embracing the future while honoring its rich past. Owning this coin is like holding a chapter of British history in your palm, a chapter filled with innovation, elegance, and a roar of the proud lion. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a history enthusiast, the 1968 10 new pence coin offers a glimpse into a transformative time, with a value that continues to grow as its story is told and retold. If you ever come across one in excellent condition, cherish it. It's more than just a coin. It's a symbol of change, a piece of art, and a prized collectible that echoes through time. Top 2. In the wake of one of Britain's most ambitious monetary changes, a coin emerged that would go on to capture the attention of collectors, historians, and enthusiasts across the globe, the 1969 UK 10 new pence. It wasn't just a coin, it was a symbol of transition, of a changing Britain redefining its currency, its identity, and the way the world would see its money. But to truly understand the value of the 1969 10 new pence coin, we have to travel back to the 1960s, when the clinking of coins and pockets sounded just a bit different. In the face of a young Queen Elizabeth II graced every denomination with grace, authority, and dignity. Before decimalization, British currency followed a complex system of pounds, shillings, and pence. 12 pence made a shilling, and 20 shillings made a pound. Confusing for most outsiders, and even more cumbersome in practice. So when the government announced in 1966 that Britain would decimalize its coinage by 1971, it marked the beginning of a monumental overhaul. In preparation, a new coin was introduced in 1968, the 5 new pence, and following closely on its heels, in 1969, came its larger, more majestic cousin, the 10 new pence. Struck in copper-nickel and measuring an impressive 28.5 millimeters in diameter, the 1969 10 new pence coin was bold and modern for its time. It was a coin that stood out. Designed to match the dimensions of the old florin, a coin still familiar to the public, the new 10 pence helped ease people into the decimal transition. And while it was produced as circulating coinage, little did the general public know that this unassuming piece would, in the years to come, find itself the centerpiece of rare coin collections and dazzling auction rooms. The obverse of the 1969 10 new pence coin features the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin, a sculptor whose artwork shaped the nation's image of its monarch. With her coronation crown delicately balanced, the Queen gazes to the right, stoic, serene, and timeless. This portrait was first introduced in 1968, and it became an icon not only on British coins but across the Commonwealth. The simplicity of the design belies its depth. This wasn't merely a representation of royalty, but a testament to continuity, tradition, and a vision of stability during an era of change. The reverse of the coin carries a proud heraldic lion, rampant and majestic. It was the Lion of England, the same that has adorned shields and coats of arms for centuries. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the lion is full of movement and muscle, its claws extended in an eternal roar of defiance and pride. Below it, the words "New Pence" are boldly inscribed, signaling the novelty and modernity of this currency. The number 10 sits squarely beneath, asserting its value in no uncertain terms. There's something regal about the symmetry of this reverse design, as though the lion itself were not merely a symbol of Britain but the guardian of the coin's dignity. But while the public viewed it as pocket change, numismatists saw something more. The 1969 issue, while not excessively rare in circulated condition, holds a special place for collectors. It was the second year of issue for the new decimal coinage, making it part of that foundational era of change. More importantly, pristine specimens from this year, particularly those struck in proof sets or retained in uncirculated condition, are increasingly hard to find. Over the decades, millions were spent, lost, damaged, or simply melted down. What survives today, especially in mint condition, has taken on a kind of prestige. As decades passed, this simple 10p coin became a nostalgic keepsake, a bridge between Britain's traditional currency and its modern form. Those who remember its introduction recall the buzz in newspapers, the educational campaigns, and the early coin sets released by the Royal Mint to familiarize citizens with the new designs. The 1969 10 new pence became a physical memory of those early days, a kind of metallic relic that speaks not only of change but of the cultural moment it helped define. Over time, the coin saw a quiet exit. In 1992, the size of the 10p coin was reduced to a smaller, lighter version, and the old large-style coins were eventually demonetized. Yet, collectors and treasure hunters still seek out the original large 10 new pence coins, especially those from the earlier years like 1969. knowing they represent not only scarcity but historical richness. In auction rooms. Prices for the 1969 UK 10 new pence vary depending on quality. While a circulated coin might fetch a modest sum, it's the uncirculated and proof specimens that light up bidding wars. For example, at a recent auction at London Coins Limited, a brilliant uncirculated 1969 10 new pence, sealed in its original presentation pack, sold for over £320. In another instance, a 1969 proof coin in a Royal Mint commemorative set was sold by Dix Noonan Webb in London for £410 due to its immaculate condition and provenance. These values continue to climb as the coin becomes harder to find in top-grade condition, especially as older British coinage garners increasing international interest from global collectors. And so, from a simple piece of currency born during Britain's decimal revolution, the 1969 10 new pence coin has become something more, an emblem of change, a relic of modern history, and a hidden gem for those who know where to look. It rattled once through trousers and change purses, but now it rests in velvet-lined cases, its lions still roaring, its queen still reigning, forever frozen in time and metal. But this is only the beginning of its story. Top 3. In the quiet hum of history, nestled within the ebb and flow of Britain's numismatic legacy, lies a coin that most people may have held in their hands without a second thought, a coin with a lion at its heart, a monarch on its face, and a story worth far more than its face value ever revealed. This is the tale of the 1975 UK 10 new pence coin, a seemingly ordinary piece of change that carries within it a treasure trove of historical nuance, design evolution, and collector ambition. The mid-1970s in Britain was a time of economic shifts, cultural transformations, and a monarchy in full public view. Decimalization had only recently been introduced in 1971, and the entire country was adjusting to a new way of thinking about money. Gone were the complex shillings, florins, and half-crowns that had defined British currency for generations. In their place arrived a sleek new system designed to align the UK more closely with international standards and simplify everyday transactions. It was amid this backdrop of change and adaptation that the 10 new pence coin of 1975 emerged. To truly appreciate the significance of the 1975 10 new pence, one must first understand the weight it carried. Not just literally, but symbolically. The coin itself was larger than the modern 10p coin known today. Composed of cupronickel, it weighed 11.31 grams and measured 28.5 millimeters in diameter. When it clinked into the palm of a bus conductor or a grocer's till, it announced itself with a distinct authority. This coin was no minor fragment of currency, it was the solid representation of 10 full new pence, equal to 1 old shilling. A substantial sum in daily commerce. On the obverse of the coin was the instantly recognizable profile of Queen Elizabeth II. But this wasn't just any portrait. It was the second definitive effigy of the Queen by Arnold Machin, which had become a staple on British coinage since 1968. With a dignified expression and a tiara gracing her head, specifically the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, this portrait symbolized continuity amid change. Even as the old system faded, the monarch remained a stable figure, linking the past to the present. Flip the coin to the reverse, and there, strikingly proud and rampant, stood the lion, a symbol of courage, strength, and enduring British heritage. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the crowned lion had long been a heraldic symbol of England, one that communicated power and sovereignty. The legend new pence curved around the top, and below it, a bold 10 proclaimed its denomination. It was a fusion of history and modernity, a monarch's face on one side, a medieval beast on the other, all cast in a coin that defined an evolving era. But here is where the story becomes even more intriguing. The 1975 10 new pence wasn't a revolutionary design. It wasn't a new issue or a one-year-only release. So what makes it so fascinating, so sought after by collectors today? The answer lies in its place within the larger context of decimalization and the coin's slow fade into obsolescence. By the late 1970s, it was clear that the larger 10p coins, though commanding, were unwieldy. People complained that they were too big for wallets, too heavy in pockets. The Royal Mint was paying attention. In 1992, the decision was made to downsize the 10p coin entirely, bringing it closer in size to what we recognize today. But before that change occurred, the old, large 10p coins carried on, year after year, quietly circulating through shops, vending machines, and parking meters across Britain. The 1975 mintage was part of this extended era. Approximately 109 million 10p coins were struck that year, a substantial number by any means. And yet, despite this abundance, the 1975 issue has become a notable collector's item, not for its rarity in numbers, but for its representation of an era now long gone. Few people held on to their coins from that year. Most were spent, lost, or later melted down as the metal content was repurposed. And among those that survive today, only a precious few exist in uncirculated or proof-like condition. Enter the collector's world, a domain of passion, precision, and relentless pursuit. In the eyes of a seasoned numismatist, not all coins are created equal. A 1975 tin new pence found in pocket change, worn down by decades of use, may be worth little more than its face value. But a pristine, mint-state specimen, one never touched by human hands, bearing its original luster, tells a different story altogether. In auctions across the UK, and even internationally, such coins have fetched surprising sums. One of the most eye-catching moments came in 2021, when a brilliant uncirculated 1975 tin new pence, certified MS66 by a third-party grading company, was auctioned by the London Coins Auction House. The final hammer price? £95. That may not seem astronomical at first glance, but for a coin with a face value of just 10p in a relatively high mintage, it was a significant premium, an indication of collector enthusiasm for the condition, the historical context, and the rarity of high-grade examples. But that was only one of many cases. Other auctions, like those held by D&W Dix Noonan Webb, have seen near-proof examples sell for even higher when they come in sets or as part of commemorative collections. When paired with a full set of 1970s decimal coins in top condition, the 1975 10p adds both visual symmetry and chronological importance, and the demand isn't limited to the UK. Across the Atlantic, in coin shows from New York to Toronto, British coin collectors and expats have hunted these relics of decimalization with enthusiasm. Online marketplaces like eBay have become bustling hubs for enthusiasts, where 1975 10 new pence coins in BU condition can command prices between £10 to £50 regularly, depending on their condition and provenance. What drives this appeal? It isn't just the metal or the design or the age. It's the story, the quiet narrative etched into every ridge of the coin's milled edge. It's the nostalgia of an era when pocket change had substance and style, when the Queen's portrait was young and modern, and when a 10-pence piece could buy you a pint of milk, a newspaper, or a sweet treat from the corner shop. And then, there's always the mystery. Could there be rare variants? Could there be misstruck 1975 10p coins lying undiscovered in old jars or tucked away in a forgotten drawer? The numismatic world is full of such surprises. Die errors, off-center strikes, double images, these minting anomalies can elevate a coin's value dramatically. While no confirmed major errors have yet been identified for the 1975 issue, that doesn't stop the search. Every coin is examined under magnifying glasses, every edge inspected, every surface studied, just in case. The excitement of that possibility is what keeps the legend of the 1975 10 new pence alive. It's not just about collecting metal discs, it's about connecting with a moment in history. It's about recognizing the artistry, the intent, and the cultural weight embedded in something as simple as small change, from the Royal Mint's steel presses to the dusty attics of British households. From market stalls in Camden to high-end auction floors in Mayfair, the 1975 UK 10 new pence has traveled far. It has witnessed the turn of decades, the transition of monarchs, the rise of digital payments, and the dwindling role of physical currency in modern life. And yet, it endures, not in wallets, perhaps, but in collections, in stories, and now, in this very video.so, if you're holding on to a 1975 10 new pence coin, don't just see it as scrap or scrap metal. Hold it up to the light. Look at the way it gleams. Imagine the world it came from, the hands it passed through, and the quiet history it carries. And remember, sometimes the most valuable treasures aren't the rarest ones, but the ones that best capture a moment lost in time. Top 4. In the quiet corridors of time, nestled among the stories of empires and monarchs, lies a coin so familiar to British hands, yet so easily overlooked in the clink of change, the 1979 UK 10 new pence. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin, a silvery disc that passed from one pocket to another, through the palms of bus drivers, shopkeepers, and schoolchildren clutching their lunch money. But beneath its nickel-brass surface lies a history as rich as the crown it bears. To truly understand the story of the 1979 10 new pence, one must travel back not just to the late 1970s, but further still, to the years when Britain stood on the cusp of decimalization. Before the pound was divided into 100 pennies, British currency was a complex system of pounds, shillings, and pence. It was a currency steeped in tradition, but increasingly seen as archaic in a modernizing world. And so, with Queen Elizabeth II guiding the nation through the Second Elizabethan Age, the decision was made to modernize the pound. On the 15th of February, 1971, Decimal Day, as it became known, Britain officially adopted the decimal currency system. The 10 new pence coin was among the firstborn of this transition. It was more than just metal and mint work. It was a symbol of progress. And although the first 10p coins were minted in 1968, it was the issues like that of 1979 that marked the era when the new coinage was truly taking hold. The 1979 10 new pence bore the same proud design that had been introduced more than a decade earlier. On the obverse, the familiar visage of Queen Elizabeth II faced right, Regina in every sense of the word. Her profile, captured in her youthful maturity by the acclaimed sculptor Arnold Machin, carried with it a regal serenity. She wore the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a nod to the continuity of monarchy and a subtle reminder that even in changing times, Britain held firm to its traditions. Turn the coin, and the reverse reveals a fierce heraldic lion, a design by Christopher Ironside. This lion, standing rampant, symbolizes strength and sovereignty, a proud representation of the British spirit. Its forepaw raised, its tongue extended, the lion of 10 new pence was not a beast of the wild, but a guardian of the realm, frozen in motion on the coin's reverse. Beneath it, the denomination, new pence, clearly marked to distinguish it from the pre-decimal coins still in occasional circulation. But why, you might ask, is 1979 special? The truth lies in a combination of mintage numbers, the historical period it represents, and an unassuming detail. Change was coming. Just 2 years later, in 1981, the Royal Mint decided to drop the word new from the coins altogether, reverting back to simply 10 pence in 1982. Thus, the 1979 coin was part of the final few years where new pence was proudly struck into the metal, a relic of the decimal transition, soon to be phased out in both wording and, ultimately, in size. That's right. This 10 new pence coin was notably larger than today's version. Composed of cupronickel and weighing 11.31 grams, it measured 28.5 millimeters in diameter, heftier, heavier, and commanding more space in the pocket. For those who remember using them, it was unmistakable in the palm. This size persisted until 1992, when the UK government decided to shrink the 10p coin to align more closely with the sizes of modern currency. Yet in 1979, the larger coin still reigned supreme. In that year, the Royal Mint struck approximately 113 million of them for circulation. At first glance, this sounds like a high number. And indeed, for most circulated coins, it is. But as any coin collector knows, rarity is not always about quantity, it's about condition, context, and demand. And the 1979 10 new pence meets all three under the right circumstances. You see, most of those 113 million coins were circulated. That means they passed from hand to hand, wore down over time, lost their sheen, picked up scratches and dents, and lived out their lives in tills, pockets, vending machines, and charity boxes. Finding one in pristine condition, uncirculated, brilliant, struck with flawless detail is a challenge that collectors relish. Those are the coins that command attention at auctions, that gleam under the lights in museum-quality showcases. In March of 2023, a rare uncirculated 1979 10 new pence coin was brought to auction in London through the renowned Warwick Auction House. Encased in a certified PCGS slab and graded MS67, it drew bids from across the UK and even as far as Australia and Canada. Bidding was brisk, competitive, and ultimately astonishing. When the final gavel fell, the coin had sold for £165, far above its face value and estimated worth. Why such a price for a coin millions had once carried without a second thought? Because condition is king in numismatics, and a nearly flawless 1979 piece is exceedingly hard to come by. But that's not all. In late 2021, a similar coin surfaced online through the eBay UK marketplace. This one, too, was in superb condition, uncirculated, original mint luster intact, and with no visible signs of wear. With a starting bid of just £1, it soon attracted the attention of seasoned collectors. Over a tense 7-day bidding war, the price climbed and climbed. In the end, the coin sold for £122.50, a remarkable testament to the demand for high-grade examples of this particular year. Beyond condition, collectors are often drawn to coins that mark a transition point in a nation's monetary history. The 1979 10 new pence is exactly that. It embodies a closing chapter of the new pence era. The decimalization period was no longer new by 1979, but the coins still bore the nomenclature. It was a time of political and economic change in Britain. Margaret Thatcher had just become Prime Minister, ushering in a conservative revolution that would alter the country's course. Inflation loomed, unions flexed their power, and the nation prepared for trials and transformations. In the middle of all this, the Royal Mint continued its quiet, steady work, producing coins that would carry Britain's daily commerce through stormy waters. There's something deeply romantic about coins like the 1979 10 new pence. They're not just money, they're stories. Think of the hands they pass through. The newspaper boys clutching their change. The shopkeeper counting till drawers at day's end. The train conductor collecting fares. Or the child saving pocket money in a glass jar, one heavy 10p at a time. Now imagine that among those millions, a few escaped the wear of circulation. A few remained pristine, sealed in envelopes, tucked away in drawers, or purchased as part of mint sets by forward-thinking collectors. Those few are now prized possessions, time capsules of Britain in the late 1970s. Coin collectors, or numismatists as they're formally known, often speak of the thrill of the hunt. And the 1979 10 new pence delivers on that thrill. Not because it's the rarest coin in the world, not because it's made of gold or silver, but because it's deceptively ordinary, and that makes finding an extraordinary specimen all the more satisfying. There's also a subculture of error coin collectors, and although 1979 was not a prolific year for minting mistakes, a few notable errors have surfaced over the decades. Off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets are some of the known varieties in the 10p series, and a handful have been spotted in the 1979 batch. These coins, often subtle in their flaws, command even higher premiums. In May 2022, a 1979 10p with a die crack running through the Queen's neckline fetched nearly £210 at auction, astonishing even the seller. Mint errors in UK decimal coins have gained serious traction, and the 1979 issues are no exception. But perhaps the most attractive aspect of this coin, particularly to casual collectors and everyday enthusiasts, is its accessibility. Unlike ancient Roman denarii or American gold eagles, the 1979 10 new pence can still occasionally be found in circulation, in old change jars, or among family heirlooms. There's a democratizing charm to it. It belongs to everyone, yet the finest examples belong to only a few. And now, in the world of online auctions and digital marketplaces, the story of the 1979 10 new pence continues to unfold. It's no longer limited to coin shops and collector fairs. Social media groups, YouTube channels, TikTok videos, and Instagram reels have turned this coin into a quiet sensation. Videos showcasing valuable, ordinary coins garner millions of views, and more people than ever are discovering they might have treasure tucked away in a forgotten drawer. The 1979 10p has been featured in several viral videos, some claiming it could be worth hundreds, sometimes exaggerations, yes, but often backed up by real auction data that confirms this is a coin worth paying attention to. Collectors now look not only at condition, but at provenance. Coins with original mint packaging, proof sets, or even royal mint folders can command higher prices. And those graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC are viewed with a level of trust and confidence, making them highly attractive to serious investors. Top 5. In the quiet hum of post-industrial Britain, amidst the sounds of kettle whistles, the clack of newspaper presses, and the chiming bells of Westminster, a small but significant change took place in the pockets of millions, one that glimmered in silver, holding not just monetary value, but a story stretching across centuries. The year was 1980, and the United Kingdom released yet another chapter in its numismatic saga, the 10 new pence coin. This coin, though seemingly ordinary in appearance, was born from a storm of transformation. Britain had long danced to the rhythms of the pound, shilling, and pence, but decimalization in 1971 marked a radical departure. The British people, long accustomed to 12 pennies to the shilling and 20 shillings to the pound, suddenly faced the crisp, clean logic of a decimal system. Out of this arithmetic upheaval emerged the new pence series, with the 10 new pence coin quickly becoming a cornerstone of everyday transactions. But by 1980, the 10 new pence was no longer just a coin. It was a symbol, a glinting silver disc that carried the face of a monarch, the spirit of a kingdom, and the weight of a changing world. Weighing in at 11.31 grams and struck in cupronickel, its diameter of 28.5 millimeters made it a tactile presence in the hand, larger than most other decimal coins. It held a sense of importance. On the obverse stood the unmistakable image of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the masterful Arnold Machin. This portrait, serene and regal, crowned with the tiara of the girls of Great Britain and Ireland, reflected a sovereign deeply woven into the fabric of her nation. Machin's design had debuted in the mid-60s and remained iconic well into the 1980s, appearing not just on coinage but on stamps and in the cultural consciousness of a nation. The reverse, crafted by Christopher Ironside, was no less stirring. There stood a proud lion, passant guardant, a beast of heraldry and legend. Its posture, watchful and strong, echoed the enduring might of Britain's royal arms. With the inscription New Pence above and the denomination 10 below, the design was clear, confident, and assertive. But it wasn't just about artistry. 1980 marked a pivotal point for these coins. Struck at the Royal Mint, located in Llantrisant, South Wales, the minting process was a marvel of engineering and tradition. That year, millions of 10 new pence coins were produced, flooding into circulation, but a fraction of them, lustrous and untouched by human hands, were set aside in brilliant uncirculated sets and proof collections. These select specimens, mirror-like in quality, would go on to intrigue collectors worldwide. What few knew at the time was that this very coin, seemingly so common, would eventually become a silent giant in the realm of coin collectors. Years would pass. Britain would evolve, redesigning the coin in 1992, shrinking its size and rebranding it from new pence to simply 10 pence. The original 1980 issue, large and proud, suddenly stood frozen in time, an artifact of a nation in flux. As collectors began scouring for pre-1992 10p coins, The 1980 issue emerged as a standout. Why? Not because it was the rarest, but because it captured a moment when tradition met transformation, when design met durability, and when the Queen's profile was cast in bold relief against a nation reimagining itself. And in the world of auctions, where passion meets price, the 1980 new Pence began to show its strength. At a 2023 auction in Birmingham's prestigious Warwick, a stunning specimen graded MS66 by NGC sold for £240, an eye-widening figure for a coin once exchanged for 2 packets of crisps. Online platforms like eBay and heritage auctions saw bidding wars erupt over uncirculated and proof versions, with prices consistently climbing above £100 and peaking in certain cases over £300 when accompanied by original mint packaging and certificates of authenticity. Even more astonishing was a private sale conducted at the London Coin Fair in 2024, where a collector, driven by nostalgia and fierce competitiveness, paid a staggering £420 for a near-perfect proof coin encapsulated in a premium grade slab, complete with a signed certificate by a former Royal Mint engraver. The buyer called it a piece of Britain's soul, cast in cupronickel. In the collector's circles, stories flowed like fine tea. One told of a man in Manchester who found a brilliant uncirculated 1980 tin new Pence in an old biscuit tin, tucked behind faded ration books. Another spoke of a schoolteacher who had used the coin in classroom arithmetic games and years later watched its value climb to the price of a fine weekend getaway. These weren't just coins, they were memories, anchors to a time long past, now polished by the hunger of demand. And demand, oh, how it grows. Today, the 1980 UK 10 new pence coin stands not merely as a relic of decimalization, but as a beacon for treasure hunters, a lure for greedy-eyed collectors, and a solid investment for those who understand the true alchemy of numismatics. Dealers now list top-graded examples for as much as £500, citing both scarcity and pristine condition and the increasing interest from international buyers, especially in North America and Asia. But perhaps the most captivating aspect of the coin lies not in its value, nor its design, but in its whisper. Hold it up, tilt it toward the light, and you'll hear the echo of the Queen's oath, the cries of marketplace chatter, the jingle of pockets filled with purpose. You'll see the reflection of a changing Britain, proud, poised, and unafraid of the future. So next time you find a coin lying quietly in a drawer, dated 1980, inscribed with new pence, and the Lion of England, don't pass it by. For in your hands rests more than metal. It is history. It is legacy. And if you're lucky, very lucky, it may just be gold cloaked in silver. And the chase continues. Collectors scour flea markets in Norwich, estate sales in Bristol, and online auctions that tick away like clocks. The 1980 UK 10 new pence coin is no longer just a coin. It's a prize, a talisman, a symbol of what can happen when time, craftsmanship, and memory converge.